I also wanted to talk about Ryan Presley's press conference yesterday. And there are a couple of comments made in it that have me wondering aloud something that's going to sound a little bit hot takey, and I don't necessarily believe it. But Ryan Presley, in that press conference that he did with Chicago media, talked about his demotion, and clearly it rubbed him the wrong way. Here is Ryan Presley.
It was tough. You get demoted, and then you got to go out there and be professional and try to lead the right way. And that was, I think, one of the things that kind of separates yourself from being an athlete and a professional. Like, you want to carry yourself professionally, and that's what they pay us to do, is to go out there and be a professional. And I I think that the best way I could do that and show my teammates, how I can carry myself even when stuff's not going to go your way.
That's a very professional answer because that is not how he actually felt when that all went down.
No, that was a very professional answer.
I'll still give the Astros credit because when Kendall Graveman went down and they made that move to bring in Josh Hader, to a degree, I was excited. I didn't like the 5-year nature of it, but I also thought to myself in 2023, Presley was not the Presley we'd seen in 2022. It's really difficult to predict year to year what a relief pitcher is going to be able to bring to the table. But Presley was really pissed about it. I think he got over it, and he actually was a great teammate last season. And that's why I'm not really a fan of the way that it felt like the Astros were pressuring him to waive his no trade clause and to accept that trade to Chicago.
Yeah, signing Josh Hader was absolutely the right move. You have a closer for the next 4 years now, 5-year contract originally, and he is a significantly better pitcher than Ryan Presley. Now, he does not have the postseason accolades that Ryan Presley has, where he's been one of the best pitchers to ever touch the mound in a postseason. With Ryan Presley has been. So it's still the right move, and I get why he'd be upset, and I get why he wouldn't want to be here. I think it's interesting that he's also accepted the demotion away from the team, that he's not guaranteed the closing role. And because if it was really about just the demotion, then he would have waived his no trade clause immediately. And the reports or the belief that he had to be guaranteed a closer spot to actually waive it clearly was not true and was wrong. And he's going to compete with a nobody.
Is that guy a nobody?
Paul, I don't remember who he's talking about, and I'm a Cubs fan.
Okay. So this is Ryan Presley talking about waiving his no trade clause. He said it's one of the hardest decisions he's ever made.
It's just, being at home. Been here at home for the past 6.5, 7 years. So, it's just, it's hard to leave your home. But, again, an opportunity to go play for the Cubs, came about. And it was one of these opportunities I don't feel like comes around very often.
Here's where I'm going to get a little hot takey. Clearly, the main reason Presley waived his no trade clause is that he wasn't thrilled with how last year went down, and the Astros were kind of pressuring him to leave. But you heard that at the very end. The Cubs are an opportunity that doesn't come around every now and then. You're our resident Cubs expert. Is it possible that he looks at the Cubs as having a better chance to compete next season than the Astros? Which I would say, this is not my opinion, it would be kind of crazy to feel that way given that doesn't the NL Central have a couple of good teams?
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers are good. They're not great. Like, you're probably honestly, I think the NL Central and the AL West are going to look very similar this year, with like 3 teams hovering between 80 and 90 wins.
Okay.
And if the Cubs are the team with 90 or the team with 80, will probably be to the detriment or the bounce back of Ryan Presley, is my guess. A better chance to win? Maybe a division. Maybe. But better chance to get to the World Series? Absolutely not. You have to go through the Dodgers to get to the World Series. To go through the Braves, the Mets. Getting through the American League is so much easier. Like what are the Yankees this year? They lost Juan Soto. They've made a couple nice moves, but we know what the Yankees are. The Astros can beat the Yankees in the playoffs. They do it all the time.
Right. We still feel good about an Astros-Yankees series, even if they don't bring back Alex Bregman. And this offseason features an offseason where they don't do anything about the outfield. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Is it possible that Ryan Presley looked at the Cubs as a team with a better ability to compete this year than the Astros. I think he would be crazy if he did, but I would understand it to a degree if he did, because there's probably a part of him that has some sour feelings towards the organization, just given how things went down last year. There's pettiness, competitiveness, whatever you want to call it.
I think there's a sourness for sure, not just competitiveness, but really feels like he was not looped in at all about the Hader signing. He was really pretty much the last person to know. Not that he has to be consulted, but that feels like a guy that throws the final pitch of the 2022 World Series deserves a phone call of just like, hey, we're pursuing this. It's going to happen. Like, we're going to pay this dude a ton of money. You're getting demoted to the 8th inning. But in terms of wanting to win, if he wasn't going to be an Astro and he knew they wanted to get rid of him, then if his options were Detroit or Chicago, even though Detroit knocked the Astros out of the playoffs last year, I think is clearly the better choice
Okay.
to go there. Like, I think it's more about of where he could be traded, the teams that were interested. He thinks the Cubs are the best spot for him. Talked a lot about in this press conference about like the dream of playing in Wrigley Field. He mentioned watching Rookie of the Year as a kid as like a reference point. Yes, as like a reference point to like how cool it would be to pitch at Wrigley, which was like, which made me chuckle.
Gotta say that movie blows, but that's
It's
just
not.
me.
I'm with you. It's
Angels
not
in
a
the
good movie.
Outfield just completely blows that. And
Yes.
there's Rookie of the Year and Little Big League, the one where the kid owns the Twins.
Oh, yeah.
Both those movies sucked. Angels in the Outfield, greatest baseball movie ever. Move over, Major League.
Hey, just one of
Move
my,
over for the love of the game. Move over, Bull Durham. Yeah, I'm going that far. And I love Bull Durham. Bull Durham made me cry. First time I watched it, I loved it. I got very sentimental at the end.
I don't think it made me cry. It was close.
Susan Sarandon, jeez.
Field of Dreams. Thoughts?
I hate that movie.
Oh, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
Overrated.
Oh, let's build a baseball field in the cornfield. No one's going to go.
Snoozer.
It's in Iowa. What are you doing? This is not a smart business making venture. And the ghost of your dad comes out and you have a catch with him at the end because shoeless Joe Jackson, who's apparently not burning in hell for cheating on baseball. Just kidding. I have no idea if there's an afterlife or anything like that. But Joe Jackson's like, hey, I know your dad. Hey, what's up?
If the Astros played in the Field of Dreams game, I would 100% want to go to it.
Yeah.
To see what it would be like. Even though I think the movie's overrated. It's like, see the Astros play on that field and see the players come out of the cornfield would be cool.
Well, yeah, because you'd be tripping balls and seeing ghosts. That would be something else. That would be truly incredible. Now it could be holograms. Maybe they could figure something out. Scooby Doo seemed to have the technology to make ghosts back in the day with like paper, cardboard paper, and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. Anyway, going back to this is definitely a hot take, and this is not what I'm endorsing. I'm just asking the question: is it possible Ryan Presley thinks the Cubs are better than the Astros? Here's Ryan Presley talking about Alex Bregman and how, like, hey, maybe the Cubs should bring him in.
He was the heartbeat, of that clubhouse in Houston, and having him come to Chicago would be an amazing thing, I think, for us. However, I don't know exactly what's going on in his camp. I just, me personally, I would love to play with him again just because he's just a solid dude and a great teammate. And, his kid plays with my kids and, our wives are close friends. So again, having another familiar face on the team would be, super helpful. And that left side of the infield would be really, really good. But I still think we're really good with or without him signing, but again, I would love to have him with us in Wrigley.
Love to have him, but hey, I think we're really good. I mean, he's giving a political answer, but at the same time, just a hot take idea. Anyone else want to take it further? Jeremy Branham, this is for you if you want it. Giving you some fresh meat.
He wants nothing to do with Alex Bregman, so I think or at least he doesn't want to pay Alex Bregman the money that he apparently wants.
I mean, the take that the Cubs are better than the Astros. Jeremy, if you want it, I'm giving it to you on a silver platter. Okay, your show prep's done for the day, and you can come in and you can just have some fun.
I do think Alex is going to be an Astro or a Cub. I think those are going to be the final two teams.
So the Cubs are back in.
Yeah, a bunch of people in Chicago think that the Cubs are going to be the team that if Bregman finally backs down from a 5 to 7 year contract and is willing to go short term, that the Cubs will go to a place that the Astros potentially will not go to in terms of value, per year. That they will up the offer to a point where maybe he would accept a 3-year deal with a bunch of opt-outs in there. So
interesting.
I don't think it's impossible, but I think those are the final two teams. I think he's either on a 5-year deal with the Astros or a short-term deal with the Cubs. Sounds like the Red Sox are out.
Okay.
Maybe the Tigers are still part of this, but
Okay.
it really feels like, based on what I've been reading, that it feels like the final two teams are the Cubs and the Astros.
He's Joe. I'm Paul. A couple of other thoughts on best baseball movie. The Natural had a good soundtrack, but I was annoyed by Robert Redford's character getting shot and like clearly dying or falling. And then the person who shot him like jumps out a window in the middle of Chicago, but the soundtrack's great. 8 Men Out was pretty good, had a lot of names, but
I think I've seen that one.
that's the one about the Black Sox.
Okay.
And what else do we have here?
Sandlot from the text line.
I hated Smalls. I just hated him. I hated
Yeah,
Smalls.
Paul, that tracks. Like,
Yeah,
like
I
that,
hated him.
like thinking of Sandlot and like the person you'd hate.
And then he ends up being a broadcaster later. It's like, yo, you don't know anything about sports, dude. Like, I just don't believe your passion.
I mean, he knows about them.
No, he didn't. He didn't know who Babe Ruth was.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't.
Right.
He didn't know how to play catch. Like, then all of a sudden, like, oh, the Jet. I wonder if he's got something left in the tank. Calling him stealing. I don't know. Whatever.